Welcome back to the channel. Glad you could join me. I hope you've been enjoying the videos as always. And today I wanted to talk about the first book in the Prydain Chronicles, the Chronicles of Prydain, however you want to say that. The Book of Three. So this is the first book again in the Chronicles of Prydain by Lloyd Alexander. It's interesting to note that Lloyd Alexander is an American writer, and apparently he was inspired by Welsh mythology. He was in World War II Army Combat Intelligence training, and apparently that took place in Wales. And anyway, he ended up writing the Chronicles of Prydain. Lloyd Alexander is probably most known for The Black Cauldron. A lot of people have a tendency to just say The Black Cauldron when they mean the whole series of books and everything, possibly because of the Disney influence there. Anyway, I myself admit that when I was younger, and I remember The Black Cauldron coming out, I thought that meant that The Black Cauldron was the first book in the series. Apparently that was not the case. Anyway, Black Cauldron is a lot more iconic a name than the Book of Three, so I understand why Disney chose that as opposed to calling it the Book of Three. Anyway, so Taran, he lives in a place called Caer Dallben. Dallben is the enchanter who owns that particular keep. Maybe a good way to put it. It's basically a farm. He lives there with the enchanter Dallben and a retired soldier named Call. And Taran is not happy. He is the assistant pig keeper of Caer Dallben. The pig is way more important than Taran is. The pig is called Henwin, and it happens to be an oracular pig. It can tell the future. So, obviously, Taran being the assistant pig keeper to an oracular pig, yeah, he's going to come in second fiddle to the pig. So he's not happy with his life, and he is dreaming of becoming a great hero, as a young boy obviously would. I mean, who wants to be the assistant pig keeper forever? Even being elevated to head pig keeper status probably wasn't what Taran wanted to wasn't his aim in life to become to just be the pig keeper at Caer Dallben all his life. So anyway, he is, as I said, he's supposed to care for the pig. The Prince Gwydion shows up because they are in a battle with the Horned King. The Horned King is a servant of Aron, the Death Lord of Anuvan. And one of the really awesome things about the old Disney movies is they had the bravery to be dark. If you go look at the Horned King from the old Black Cauldron movie, he was not screwing around there. He was a very definite, dark, imposing figure. Anyway, Prince Gwydion shows up. He wants to consult the pig to find out what they need to do to defeat the Horned King. The pig freaks out. Now, not because Gwydion's there, not because of, telling the future or anything like that, but most likely because the proximity of the Horned King. The Horned King actually happens to be fairly close by. He's on his way to a different place to destroy it, and the pig takes off. Now, Taran chases off after the pig, and he ends up being basically he ends up running into the Horned King. He gets wounded, and he ends up on a journey to find the pig, to figure out to warn Caer Dathel, which is the keep that has been targeted by the Horned King for destruction, and they're trying to get there ahead of the Horned King to warn them that they need to do something because the Horned King is coming. In the process of this, he meets a lot of other characters. Obviously, he was a companion to Prince Gwydion for a while, but he also runs into a... You're never really told what Gurgi is. He's just a humanoid being covered with hair, and he lives in the forest. He ends up being the guide to Gwydion and Taran as they're trying to get through the forest, trying to find Henwen. They end up getting captured and sent to this other castle, the Spiral Castle, and it's kind of interesting. You find out a lot more about what's going on in the world, because apparently Queen Akren, who lives there at the Spiral Castle, she tries to get Gwydion to ally himself with her, so that that they can overthrow Aran, the Death Lord. Apparently, Aran usurped the throne from her. And there's the whole thing there. You also meet Princess Elanwi and Fluter Flam. Apparently, Fluter Flam was a bard, and he was captured and put in the dungeons of Spiral Castle. And when Taran met Princess Elanwi, and she agreed to help him get his friends out of the dungeon, she thought he meant Fluter, and didn't know that there was Prince Gwydion at all that was a part of this. So anyway, I don't want to go too much more into detail. There's a lot of things that go on. If you've only seen the Black Cauldron by Disney, you'll understand that the Black Cauldron is kind of a mashup of the Book of Three and the Black Cauldron, which comes second, because you'll recognize some of the things that happen, like Henwen is part of the Book of Three, and the fact that Henwen can tell the future, and Taran meeting Gurgi and Princess Elanwi and Fluter Flam, that all happens in the Book of Three, but the Black Cauldron is more what happens in the second book. So there's kind of a mashup between the two. Once again, as I said, I remember Disney releasing the movie. I never actually saw it as a kid. I saw it when I was, I want to say 20. I was in college when I finally saw it. I was at a friend's house, and they happened to have the movie, and I'm like, oh, I gotta watch this. So I watched it. Anyway, it wasn't until much, much later. See, again, when I was in, I believe I was in grade school when the movie first came out, and that's what made me want to read the book. And I didn't understand that the Book of Three was the first book, and the Black Cauldron was the second book. And so I tried to read the Black Cauldron, but I never really got anywhere with it. And I think some of that is because I wasn't introduced to the plot and the characters. I was kind of at the point where I should have known who Taran was, known who Princess Elanwi was, and the others. So because of that, I didn't actually read The Black Cauldron until much, much later. I was actually at a secondhand store and saw on the bookshelf the Prydain Chronicles. So it was basically all of the books in the Chronicles of Prydain that were together in one book, and I bought that and then read it. So I read them all at once. I like having that format because I can read the book. I can read the entire series. At the same time, I don't like that format because it tends to blend in because there's not really a distinct stopping place. You get through one book, you turn the page, and you've already started the second book. And so it all becomes one book to you. Anyway, I enjoyed reading the Book of Three. It did finally help me connect some of the dots that I'd missed in trying to read The Black Cauldron years and years earlier. Lloyd Alexander does a good job. I wouldn't say that this is one of my favorite books. I enjoy it. I enjoyed reading it. I enjoyed the Chronicles of Prydain. Unfortunately, one of the drawbacks of the Book of Three, or one of the weaknesses I feel of the Book of Three, is that the ending is kind of a Deus Ex Machina situation. Again, I don't want to say too much at this point, but when you have a situation where you're following the main character along, whether it be movie, book, comic, television show, whatever, and they're doing their best to resolve the situation and figure out how to overcome the insurmountable odds and all that other stuff, and then somebody else comes in and fixes the problem. That kind of cheapens the ending a bit, in my opinion. It's like, well, why did we have to go through all of this if that guy over there is going to fix the situation? I mean, I don't mind if if you can kind of chart that if it hadn't been for the main character, Deus Ex Machina would never have been able to Deus Ex Machina. That because of all the things that the main character did, that the person who ultimately ended up resolving the conflict, that if it wasn't for them and their efforts, the main character's efforts, that whoever resolves the climax, they never would have been able to get to that point. But the thing with the Book of Three is that really, maybe you could argue that that's there, but if it is, it's very weak, in my opinion. And so the ending is, in again my opinion here, is somewhat cheapened by the fact that the efforts of the protagonist were ultimately futile, and it came down to a third party just to come in and solve the crisis. So anyway, enjoyable read. I recommend it. If you have read the Book of Three, if you have a different take on this, please let me know. Comment down below, like, subscribe, etc., etc. And I hesitate to do this, but in case you're interested, I and my friends, we do a podcast. It's on gaming and nerd and geek culture, that kind of stuff. We get together and we just chat about stuff. We try to keep politics out of it as much as we possibly can. We try to keep it centered on, on the actual gaming news. In the current situation, that kind of creeps in. Hey, if you're interested, I'll leave a link down in the comments, and hope to see you there. And until next time, enjoy what you're reading.